You know what that means? This is a religious video. In fact, this is actually a video about Hellenic Polytheism in general and the views that many of us hold. Since I noticed that many people have taken an interest in my religion, I figured it was only right for me to read this. As always, I'm letting my screen reader read to me in my headphones, and then I'm repeating what it says. So what I'll be doing is just using the American pronunciations instead of the proper Greek ones, because to go back and forth between the two languages as I'm listening is very difficult. Hellenic polytheists are a very assorted group. While we have morals, etc., we don't have a specific book to follow, though we do have ones which are considered sacred: Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, Hesiod's Theogony, and Works and Days, etc. Something which may perplex many new to our faith, and which may confuse others, who then may mistakenly put all of us in the pagan Wiccan camp, is that there's one right way to follow the gods. We don't even agree on one set name for our faith. You'll often see things like Hellenic Polytheism, Hellenic Paganism, Hellenism, Hellenic Reconstructionism, or Hellenic Eclecticism, depending on the person and or branch you ask or study. One of the things that holds us together is our beliefs in the gods of ancient Greece. However, even that differs among people and groups. Another is that, with the possible exception of those who choose to hunt, we don't practice animal sacrifice. I'd say about 99% of us are in that category. None of us support the subjugation of women, etc., though our beliefs on what a woman's role is may vary slightly from person to person. We're generally very open-minded, and we encourage people, both in and outside of our religion, to ask questions about the gods and each other. We're firm believers in education. Not everyone is a scholar, but everyone should try to learn something in life, whether it's a trade or formal schooling. Some of us are of Greek descent or natives of Hellas, and some of us are not. One of the things which annoys me about the non-Greeks is that many of them have no interest in modern-day Greece. They only care about the past. I'm the opposite, caring more about the present and recent past. But to be fair, I've also heard that there's a small minority of Greek followers who are very close-minded and who don't accept foreigners. Again, it's a very small portion of our faith who feel this way, so don't feel this way if you see some of their posts, especially if you are a Christian, as they tend to be very strongly against them. While they do have valid reasons, I personally think that there are many better ways of trying to resolve this than there are much better ways of trying to resolve them than spouting off hatred towards every single member of a religion. In any case, some of us are Reconstructionists, trying to follow the old ways as much as modern life will permit. Some are middle-of-the-road, strict Hellenic pantheon, but may not do the rituals, etc. We have way too many festivals. And some are totally eclectic, following various gods and goddesses and mixing religions. For the record, I follow strictly a Hellenic-based faith, though I'm not as traditional in my actions as I would like to be. Most of us make some kinds of offerings to the gods, like the daily portion of food set aside to Astia, for food, the goddess of hearth and home, or a sacrifice of food or clothing or time, perhaps to a charity, shelter, etc. Many of us write hymns for a prayer answered by a deity, or as a prayer to one. Some of us even have altars and shrines set aside for various gods in our homes. It's important to mention that those of us who are of the Reconstructionist variety usually don't practice any kind of magic, except perhaps for the Orphics or other mystics who base their practices in history. I don't work in any kind of magic, though I do like divination. Still, I usually consider that separate from my religion. We may or may not have personal bonds with various deities. Mine is with Hermes, Athena, and Aphrodite. Most Reconstructionists dismiss that idea as modern. We have priests and priestesses, not in the Christian sense of sermons in church, but they do help in times of need, sometimes by oracle and sometimes just by being there, or even performing marriages. As I said earlier, our views of the gods are mixed. Some of us, especially in Greece, see them as symbols, while others see them as literal beings, and still others see them as forces of nature. I personally see them as individual beings, complete with their own personalities, etc. Outsiders to our faith often ask how we can follow them. I've heard this so many times that I feel it's necessary to explain how a large number of us feel on the subject. The gods are not mortal and cannot be judged by human standards, nor by humans themselves, who lack full understanding of them. Furthermore, we were not made in their image, and they did not, as in Christianity, make us to be the center of the world. We are not important in the grand scheme of things. So while I may have a bond with Hermes, for example, that doesn't mean that he can't turn around and ignore me, or that he won't demand more of me, maybe poems, time given, etc., if he's unsatisfied. Yes, the sacrifices help, but they don't guarantee that the gods will pay attention or grant our wishes. They just make it more likely. Most of us, especially from the Reconstructionist side, believe that it's wrong to demand anything from the gods, or to believe that we have any power over them. I personally find those who hold the opposite views to be blasphemous and hubristic, and yes, they do exist. As a side note, these are the people who, they don't say things like, I'm working with the gods, or I'm asking gods for help. They'll say things like, I'm using the gods, and I'm bringing down the gods and asking them for that kind of thing. I consider that very hubristic from a Reconstructionist standpoint, because we cannot control the gods. All we can do is say, please help me, and hope that they do that. We don't usually believe in a heaven or hell concept, that there are good and bad places in the underworld, and I certainly wouldn't want to go to Tartaros. However, some of us may take varying viewpoints on the afterlife, and some just say that they have no clue what it's like and won't presume to know. This is one of those areas where I differ from traditional teachings, as I believe that certain spirits come back due to unfinished business, others cross over into the spiritual realm, whatever that may be, and still others are reincarnated. We don't have sin as such, but we do have our own concepts of right and wrong, some of which were handed down through things like Solon's Tenets or the Delphic Maxims, or other sacred works, and some which we learned from our own experiences. As for me, even after 8 years, there's still a lot that I don't know. This is largely because I'm more into modern Greece, as I said, which is not a good thing in this case. As a result, I don't study as much as I should, which is not only bad religiously, but also as a true patriot of Hellas. Hopefully I will change this soon, and begin to worship more properly and learn more about the ancient culture and our faith. At any rate, that's us in a nutshell. Feel free to comment and to ask questions, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. There are also various websites which explain our religion. Some of them, of course, are Reconstructionist, some of them are middle of the road, some of them are very eclectic. If you want to strictly know about Hellenic Polytheism, I would say go with the Reconstructionist sites, because the other ones will mix various religions and whatnot, which is fine if you just want to see how some of us practice. But if you really want to learn about our faith, go to the Reconstructionist sites, go to the ones with reading lists, and read the ancient text, read the scholarly texts, but also do so with a grain of salt, especially with the scholarly ones, because some of them, everyone has their own opinion, and if you're reading, someone's views on what they studied, it's not going to be the same as the ancients, because the ancients were actually there. So I would say start with them and then go to the modern assessments. But definitely see what you can, and like I said, ask questions, and if I can help you, maybe someone else can. Best of luck to you, no matter what you do and what you decide. Blessings upon you.